I'm back. All right, guys. So I know it's been a while since I posted. I've had a lot going on, a lot of shit going on. So to not get into too much details, I had a family tragedy not too long ago. And then after that, I was sick for a while. I had a cold for like 2 weeks. Maybe it was something else. Who knows? But I'm fine now. And I've had some other things, had a lot of doctor's appointments and stuff. So yeah, just thought I'd make a video kind of updating you guys on what's been going on and what I'm going to be doing next, what the future of the channel is. So obviously, first of all, there's a new background. I think if you've been watching me, you've noticed that right away. And shout out to my brother Danny. This is his old room, so I thought I'd use it. I think it's a better background because of the color. And then I'll you see I got a poster here, and I'll get a couple more. And I got a pop there. There's another one over here that you can't quite see. I'm trying to exactly figure out maybe I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And I know I'm not exactly centered, and I know that there's shadows and everything, but aside from that, I think this is a good spot, and I'll figure out the shadows and everything. But if you guys, I certainly think this is better than my other one. I think aside from the shadows, the lighting looks pretty good, right? I mean, that's the way it looks pretty good to me. The shadows, I'm going to figure out a way to get rid of those. But other than that, I think the lighting looks pretty good. I want to hear your guys' thoughts as well. So this is going to be my new filming spot, and another reason that I haven't been posting is I've been working on this. I didn't really want to make another one in the other spot. I know people have complimented me in the background, and they mean like the posters and stuff. I'm going to put some of those up and some of the new ones as well. But I wanted something a little better so I can be closer to the computer, so I can be in a better chair with a better color in the background, more color in the background, and better lighting. So yeah, I'm going to try to do this all in one take, guys. I don't really have time to try it a bunch of times, and probably not going to be a ton of editing either, but let's see how this goes. And I just thought I'd make this to let you guys know what's going on, get my thoughts on some of the new stuff that's come out in the last month or so since I haven't been uploading. So I might as well get right into that. We're going to start off with Loki, and I loved Loki. I thought Loki was great. It's my favorite MCU show so far. I thought it was the most consistent with its vision and its messaging, what it was trying to do. Tom Hiddleston was great. He's been great in the entire MCU, but this might be his best performance so far. We get a great character arc from him. Basically, it redoes the character arc from the movies that we got from him within 6 episodes instead of many, many years, and they probably even did a little bit better. I was against the idea of bringing Loki back. I thought his death in Infinity War was done so well, and he went out a hero, but this show changed my mind. I think there's more to do with him, and especially the way the show ended, we'll get to that. There's a lot of interesting directions they can take this whole thing. So, yeah, really enjoyed Tom Hiddleston, his character arc. I liked Sylvie, played by Sophie DiMartino. I think I said that right. Owen Wilson, of course, was great. I'm a big Owen Wilson fan. As Mobius, he was phenomenal. He has a good character arc. Sylvie has a little bit of a different character arc, but she has her own as well. She ends up in quite a different place than Loki. I'm going to get into a little bit of spoilers here eventually, so if you haven't seen it yet, I mean, it's been out for a month now, so just jump ahead. I'll try to put up visuals of when I get to the next thing. So Loki, as I said, quite a bit. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And okay, so I guess I should get to a couple of my... No, I'll keep going with the good first and then get to the mixed and then the bad. So I was going to talk about the ending, but I'll wait to get to that. See, this is what it looks like when I try to do things in one take, guys. It's not easy, but I'll keep going because I don't really want to keep redoing this. There's so much stuff I got to do. I'm going on vacation in northern Wisconsin. I'm leaving in a couple days, so been getting ready for that as well. So I probably won't be posting after this for about a week or so. Got a lot more stuff going on, but I'm just keep on keeping on. Loki, like I said, character's great. Character arc's great messaging. Some cool visuals in there. Although I did think there was a little bit of a lack of cool action. I would have liked a little bit more unique, fun action. There wasn't too much of that. There's a little bit of that in episode 4, which is why that was my favorite one. I'm going to put out a Loki episode ranking at some point soon, so stay tuned for that. But I'm trying to think what else. Let me just check my Letterboxd review quick. A little bit of peek behind the curtain here. Yeah, okay. It definitely had the best dialogue of the MCU show so far, and it has some really interesting philosophical questions. Had some very good discussions about free will versus determinism, and Loki. You know, his talks with Mobius are at the forefront of that, and most of that comes from their conversations. So those are very interesting, and by the end, both of these characters are changed by each other. So that was interesting part of the show. Lots of twists throughout the show. It's very unpredictable, especially the ending. Might as well get into the ending. I've talked about basically everything I wanted to as far as good things go. The ending was epic, and although I didn't quite love the finale as much as most people did, I thought it was a little bit too talky, and I would have liked a little bit more action. But it was epic, and the way it ends at the very end has some serious ramifications for the future of the MCU, and it's going to be very cool and interesting to see where it takes it. However, and this is kind of going to fall into the mixed category, I am not in love with the multiverse idea. I think it is too convoluted. I think it is going to turn off a lot of people that are casual fans, or think it has a potential to do that. I should reword. I don't know if it's going to. I think it has a potential to do that. And I also think that it kind of makes everything that has happened so far in the MCU seem so insignificant. Like, none of this really matters. So I kind of get that feeling. So I'm a little bit mixed in that way. However, that said, Feige has done such a phenomenal job, and I can't think of any reason why he would screw this up. I feel like he's going to find a way to make this palatable and accessible for everyone in a way that is fun and interesting and new, but also makes sense and doesn't alienate a big portion of the audience. So while I'm a little bit skeptical, I think that we kind of have to trust Feige at this point. I think he'll figure it out. I think he'll pull it off. He always has a plan years and years ahead of time. So I said this to my dad when we were talking about it. I said that because he doesn't like the whole multiverse idea. He's against it, and he doesn't like where they're going. I'm like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see what happens. I'm not going to say don't like it. I'm not going to say I like it. I'm just going to wait and see where it goes from here, and then I'll make up my mind. Because I think, like I said, Feige's earned our trust at this point. It wouldn't really be fair to assume that he's going to do something to alienate a good portion of the audience. That was mixed. On the negative side, there was just a couple things. I already talked about the action. There wasn't a ton of cool action. Could have used a little bit more of that. And there was one more thing that it was... Oh, episode 3 didn't really... There was some good character stuff in there, but it didn't move the plot forward at all. And when you're making a show that's only 6 episodes... I don't like when they make an episode that's filler like that, even though it's, again, I know it's not completely filler. There was some great character stuff in there. We learned a lot about Loki and Sylvie. But it would have been nice if they could have also pushed the plot forward a little bit, and it's clear that they didn't do that in that episode. Again, I'm going to put out a ranking of Loki episodes. Not going to be for a while, because this is going to be my only video before I go on vacation, and then I got some stuff to do when I come back. Maybe I'll be able to put out one video in between, but we'll see what happens. Next thing I wanted to review, there's 4 things I want to review in this video. The next one I'm going to get to is Pig. I was really looking forward to Pig because I like Nicolas Cage a lot. I think he can be a very good actor. He can be a very bad actor, but he always commits, and that's what I admire about him. And people were hyping the shit out of this movie. Every person I saw was saying how great Pig was, like one of the best movies of the year. I walked out a little bit disappointed, to be honest. And the main reason is it wasn't exactly what I expected. And I know it's not really fair, but I think I realized that's why it was. And as time has gone by, I started to appreciate the movie quite a bit more, even though I still don't love it as much as most people do. And I went with my parents and sister. They both loved it, but, or sorry, all three of them loved it. I ended up liking it, giving it a very positive score. And oh shoot, you know what? I'm going to go back and rate Loki real quick. Loki, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. But Pig, I ended up, yeah, like I said, I ended up liking it more than I thought when I walked out of the movie. I was pretty disappointed coming out. I'm like, man, that was kind of fucking boring. And there was a lot of really drawn out scenes. Some of my issues are still there, but the more I thought about it, the more I've appreciated it. Still don't love it. So with Pig, Nicolas Cage's performance is great. Alex Wolff's performance is great. Their relationship is great. And that's the crux of the movie, for sure. And they both grow as people and learn from each other as the movie goes on. That is definitely the best part of the movie. Great dialogue, great emotion, just everything involving those two guys, essentially, especially when it's just them two hanging out and talking to each other. Great stuff. Nicolas Cage, we learned so much about this guy in a span of, it's not a long movie, hour and 40 minutes. Same with Alex Wolff's character. Definitely some of the best characterization I've seen all year, and great emotion and dialogue. But, like I said, I did think some of the scenes were too drawn out and starting to get a little pretentious, like they were sucking themselves off a little bit. So a lot of people like that. They like the long scenes with no dialogue. I thought it was a little bit too much in this one. Also, there was little to no plot in this movie. It was very, very character-based, which is fine. I'm more of a character person anyway, but I prefer there to be a little plot as well. There was one, and it kind of went in a direction that we didn't necessarily expect, which was fine. And by the ending, which I was also a little bit mixed on, felt a little bit weird. It probably fits the movie for what the movie was doing, but it was also a little bit of a letdown. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. But most people love the movie, so they probably loved the ending as well. And I ended up giving Pig a 7 out of 10. Very, very solid movie. I really, really appreciated and respected the craft behind it, and the acting and the directing and the characterization. But it was just, it felt like a much longer movie than it is. It was boring at times, and some scenes were just way too drawn out, in my opinion. There was also one little subplot between Alex Wolff's character and his dad that I felt, while it was done pretty well, was a little rushed and it wasn't quite earned, but that was more of a mixed for me. So Pig, 7 out of 10. Very solid movie that I didn't love as much as most people, but I really, really respect. And I'm probably going to have to go back and watch it at some point and see if my feelings change in that regard. Next up, and I'm sorry for checking my phone here. This is what I always do in my videos. You just don't see it because I edit around it. This one, I probably won't edit around it. I'm just going to leave it in here so I can get this thing out there and get working on getting ready for vacation and stuff like that. So, The Suicide Squad, sorry. Two completely different movies. This one is much better. I love The Suicide Squad. It was fucking awesome. This movie it's basically rated R Guardians of the Galaxy, or it's kind of like Zombieland or The Boys. It's this ragtag group of people that are, all the characters are fun, but they don't just have quirks. They all feel like actual people. They all have characterization, and they have great interactions between each other, and it's so much fun, so entertaining from start to finish. It is extremely funny. I was laughing out loud so much throughout this movie. And it wasn't forced humor. It was humor akin to Guardians of the Galaxy 1, where the humor felt organic, as opposed to Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where the humor felt forced. It was more like the first one. Felt really natural. It was based on the character interactions. It didn't feel like they were constantly setting up jokes. So just constantly funny, constantly entertaining. Love these characters. It's very, very violent, very bloody, and I thought that was awesome. It's James Gunn, at his most James Gunniest. Like, this is the kind of thing that he loves to do, and I totally enjoyed that. There is a surprising amount of heart as well. Definitely something that Suicide Squad, the first one, was missing. Maybe the Ayer cut will have a little bit more of that, but there was quite a bit amount of heart in this movie, and there were times where I wanted to tear up. Like, it was right after a laugh, and then another laugh came, and it didn't feel like it was messing up the tone. Just such a awesome movie from start to finish, and it also threw a message in there that I thought was a really good message, although it also at the same time felt a little bit shoehorned in at the last minute. So I'm a little bit mixed on that. While the message itself is great, and if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But they could have, I feel like they could have gone just a little bit deeper with that. So, yeah, mixed on that, but mostly on the good side. And then they go a direction with one character that I thought was a little bit strange, but also made for some interesting stuff. So another mixed thing, if you've seen that, you know what I mean as well. Because then after that, you've seen, and you're like, wait a minute, you look back on all the stuff the character has done before, and it kind of makes you view that differently. So a little bit odd there. And then, of course, for movies like this, there are going to be moments where characters' deaths are totally predictable. And you're like, oh, yep, he's going to die. And it happens. But sometimes deaths are not predictable. So this movie does a good job of keeping you on your toes in that regard. So I can't really necessarily say that that's a bad thing either. Let me just check my Letterboxd review here. I thought I had a couple other issues. Oh, the villains. Villains were really bad. The villain, there was a couple different villains. There's the corporate villain, which is extremely cliche and over the top. Then there's the big monster villain, which I actually enjoyed. I thought that was pretty cool, but obviously zero characterization there. So this movie was really about the heroes in our group of ragtag, I guess more anti-heroes, but as far as the movie goes, they're the protagonists. It was about them. And I thought they did a really good job with that. So, but I still can't give a movie super high score with villains that are that bad. So even if it's not necessarily about that. But anyway, Suicide Squad still, for me, got a 7.5 or 8 out of 10, I think. Yeah, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10, which is very, very solid. And it would be, I haven't seen a ton of James Gunn movies. It'd be my second favorite after Guardians 1, which I still think was done just a little bit better for what it was. But Suicide Squad is very close and very similar, just rated R, and I really, really dug it. The last thing is going to be Free Guy, which I just saw yesterday. I thought Free Guy was pretty good. I really liked it. It certainly is very predictable, and the dialogue is pretty bad at times, especially from one character who... It's Taika's character. I didn't hate him nearly as much as a lot of people did. I thought the performance was good for what the movie was doing with the character, but it was pretty over the top, so I understand why a lot of people are not going to like it, but I personally enjoyed it. Some of the dialogue isn't great. The ending is extremely predictable, and there's a lot of cliches in here. However, they do it through the lens of this video game and through a guy who's in a video game but doesn't know he's in a video game. And the stuff they do with that, the way that's executed, very well. They do a very good job with that, and that's what makes this movie unique and makes it good, and that's why I enjoyed it so much, is because they've done video game movies before, but not quite like this. Like, this is, well, I guess it's not based off a video game. You know what I mean? A movie that involves people in a video game. This one was very unique, and it also had a lot of heart, which I think was, like, there was a romantic plot line, there was also a friendship plot line, both very focal points of the movie. Both were done very well. So the movie had quite a bit of heart in it as well. Very funny, of course. Ryan Reynolds in the lead. He's hilarious. I mean, he basically PG-13 Deadpool. He plays the same guy in every movie, but that's totally fine because he's so good at it. I loved his performance, and I continue to love his sense of humor. It'll never get old to me. I love that kind of stuff. Couple other characters in there. Jodie Comer, I thought did a very good job, and she can just be added to my huge list of celebrity crushes right now because she is just awesome. Both as the real life version of her and the British accent video game version of her, which is funny because she's actually British in real life, so it's funny that in the movie she's doing a fake British accent, but what she was really doing, the actor was doing a fake American accent, but she's actually British. So I thought that was... Maybe it just, I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, I thought Free Guy was very enjoyable, and the concept was pretty unique, even though a lot of the underlying themes and stuff, and then where the plot goes is pretty predictable and cliche. I still had a very, very good time with it. I laughed a ton, and it was very entertaining with a pretty good amount of heart. The ending, there's a plot line there that felt pretty satisfying, but also not quite earned for me. I'm not sure how everyone felt about that. If you've seen it, you know what I mean, but I'm not going to spoil it. It just came out on Friday. But I thought Free Guy's very solid. I'd give Free Guy a 7 out of 10. So those are the reviews I want to talk about. There's a few other things. Let me get a quick sip of water here. There's a few other things I want to touch on as well as far as the future of this channel and what's to come. I've teased that I have a lot of cool ideas. I had been teasing before the new background, which I have now, a new setup. Of course, there's going to be more stuff up there. There's going to be more posters and shit like that. And I'm gonna fix the shadows. That's gonna be fixed. But I think the lighting, aside from that, looks really good. If you guys agree with me, I'd like to hear that feedback as well. As far as the future of the channel, I got a lot of cool ideas. I don't want to necessarily spoil all of them yet. Let's see. What should I tell you? Okay. So like I said, just hit the mic there. So like I said, I'm going to do a Loki episode ranking. I'm going to rank all 6 episodes of Loki. I don't know if I'll do it on tier list or just a regular video. Probably just a regular video. But I do love tier lists, and I haven't done any on my channel yet. So I'm also going to do, at some point, an MCU tier list. The plan was to do it right after Black Widow. A lot of shit happened. Just didn't get around to it. So either I'll do it right before or right after Shang-Chi, probably. I don't want to wait until Eternals, probably. I do want to get out my MCU tier list, so I'm probably going to do that at some point. I also... Okay, you know what? I'll spoil this one. So I have an idea where I'm going to talk about older video games. I'm going to do like retro game reviews, review older, mostly like PS2 era games, Star Wars games, and other stuff. Talk about them, and then for some of them that a lot of people maybe haven't played that much, I got one in mind. I won't say it yet, but I'm going to do some walkthroughs. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to review these games, potentially do some walkthroughs of these older games on PS2. Most likely, these are going to be games that are available on PS4 or PS5 or Xbox One or Xbox Series S or X or whatever. Available in some form in the newer gaming systems, consoles. So that way, people would have easier access to them to play them, because I know a lot of people... I don't know where you can get a PS2 these. I'm sure you can get a PS2 on Amazon or eBay or something, but a lot of people probably wouldn't want to go through that and would rather play what they have. So I'll probably focus on games that are playable in some newer, probably past either the current generation of consoles or the one before, so people can play them fairly easily. And I'll maybe do some other walkthroughs. I was thinking doing some Black Ops 2 stuff, because that's one of my favorite games of all time, and I think it's still the best Call of Duty game. Partially due in part to the fact that that's when I started playing Call of Duty, is that game. But I think it has the best zombies and possibly the best multiplayer. Definitely gun game. A gun game is one of my favorite things. So yeah, guys, I have a ton of interest outside of movies. I'm really trying to expand this channel. And I want to hear your guys' feedback as well. What do you think about some of these ideas? Once I actually post the videos, what do you think about them? I'll look at how they do, and the ones that'll do better, I'll probably keep doing. But I got so many ideas. I don't know how many of you are actually into sports, but I'm going to start doing some sports stuff as well. I have probably not that much compared to movie or other entertainment type stuff, but I have... Okay, I don't know if I should really say too much about this. I got a sports thing coming up at some point in the future. I probably shouldn't say anything else because my cohort might get mad at me. So, yeah, I'm going to just say that there's going to be a sports thing that I'm going to be doing, not on my channel, but on someone else's. That's all I'm going to say for now, but I'm really excited for that. So, stay tuned. When I can say more about that, I will. But that's going to happen at some point. I think maybe I'll talk about some of my favorite TV shows as a kid and do like analysis on some of the characters. Like Ninja Turtles 2003, I think is phenomenal, and it's one of the most underrated shows of all time. I think it's the best version of Shredder. I think it's the best version of Leonardo. best version of Mikey, probably even Raph. Don, yeah, I'm not sure. To be honest, I haven't seen a ton of other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but 03 is by far my favorite iteration of them. I might talk about the Justice League show / Justice League Unlimited, maybe some Batman the Animated Series stuff like that. So stay tuned, guys. There's so much cool stuff coming. I promise you, it might take me a little bit. I just really felt it was necessary to make this video and let you guys know what's been going on, let you know my thoughts on some of the stuff that's come out recently, and let you know what's in the cards for the future of this channel. I'm really excited. There's so much fun stuff coming. It's gonna be a blast, but it just might be a little bit until that stuff starts coming. I got to put all the more posters and stuff. Got to figure out this background. Got to figure out how to get rid of the shadows here, because I know people, especially that don't know me, newcomers to the channel, are not going to like that. Believe me, I will get rid of that one way or another. I know I'm not perfectly centered here. All that stuff, I promise I'm going to figure out soon. But putting all that aside, I really hope you guys like my new setup, and I hope you like the lighting. I think that it looks really good with the blue wall and the lights on the sides here. And I got a much more comfortable chair, and I can be closer to the mic and closer to the computer. So all that stuff is great. And again, would love to hear what you guys think. Aside from the fact that I don't have that much in the background yet, that's going to happen. I don't have the shadows are still there. All that's going to be fixed. Putting all that aside, I think this is a very good background, and it's going to look much better. It's a good setup. The background's going to look much better at some point soon. I promise you guys. And there's so much cool stuff coming on this channel. So stick around if you're here, and if not, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button, notification bell, all that stuff really, really helps out the channel. And I will see you guys soon.